and ensuring peace through strength. So as you train, as you prepare, as you are the tip of the spear, know that you are serving under a commander-in-chief who has your interests in mind with every decision that he makes. Now, one of those decisions he made was choosing the Secretary of Defense. And you know, some folks out there, we got some of our friends in the fake news media are here.
No, technical difficulties. Hey, Marita.
Some of them said, critics might say, you can't choose an Army major to be the Secretary of Defense. It has to be, well, one of our many distinguished generals, or congressmen, or business leaders, or corporate leaders. There's many incredible Americans. One of the critiques was, we need somebody that can think strategically, big picture.
Hi, Susan.
We can't have a guy who thinks like the troops. To which I say, hell yeah, we can have a guy that thinks like the troops.
Yeah, think like the troops. Not like a neocon.
My job is to think strategically, operationally, but also understand the tactical. I have stood not that long ago in a formation like this one.
Hey, Tracy from the future.
Rest, double rest. If that's a command from the Secretary of Defense. I've been in that formation,
Terry.
loosening my knees, taking a deep breath, gazing over the horizon, sweating and wondering what time it is, but I can't move my arm. I've been in your boots, not yours. 101st, it's not the 82nd. I get it. I'll admit that on a day like today. Not quite your boots or your beret, but close. And so as I thought about this speech, I have an amazing staff. A wonderful staff and a great speechwriting team. And they put together a binder of 27 pages. I mean, it's like the Gettysburg Address meets the State of the Union. Churchill meets Reagan. But then I thought, wait, the last thing I want, if I'm standing in formation, is a 27-page speech. So I will spare you that today. The old-timers appreciate that one because they can sound that off. I recognize in many ways many of the aspirations, thoughts, anxieties, fears, dreams that you have standing in formation, you and your families. My job is to stay focused on you and our warfighters every single day. So my message today is simple, and on behalf of the President, we're going to bring it back to the basics. The basics, sir, that you talk so much about, that the 82nd Airborne is focused on. We're going to restore the warrior ethos, and we are across our formations, a standard that's set here every single day. We will focus on readiness, on training, on warfighting, on accountability, on standards. Black, white, male, female, doesn't matter. We're going to be colorblind and merit-based warfighters, just like you are here in the 82nd Airborne. We're also taking care of our people. It's not just training. It's not just beads and bullets. It's families. It's historic investment in barracks and housing, in health care, and yes, in pay. There's a big increase coming for E1 to E4. Also, I've got a bit of an announcement today that might be of interest to this community. For the first time in 25 years, here at the Secretary of Defense, through the Secretary of the Army, we are increasing jump pay. Not only are we increasing jump pay, but for the first time, jump masters who have never been compensated additionally for that additional duty are going to receive an additional $150 a month in incentive pay. So here's to our paratroopers, our jump masters, who do the difficult things in difficult places that most Americans can never imagine. But I want you to know, inside the corridors of the Pentagon, you are on our mind. With the decisions that we make in budgets, in planning, in deployments, in orders, in reorganizations, we have you and your families in mind. We're also going to rebuild our military. President Trump is committed to historic investments inside our formations. Our promise to you is that when the 82nd Airborne is deployed, if we have to call 911 for America's response force, you will be equipped better than any other fighting force in the world. You should never enter and will never enter under President Trump's watch a fair fight. That's my promise to you. We will rebuild this military. And we're going to reestablish deterrence. Unfortunately, for a number of years, the world watched and wondered where American leadership and American strength was. They watched the war that was unleashed in Ukraine, or the attacks that happened on October 7th, just that same mentality reverberating just this last night, sadly, in Washington, D.C. We saw the debacle of what happened in Afghanistan. President Trump has said, by putting America first, we will reestablish peace through strength, and we will reestablish deterrence. And when I look out at this formation, the eyes of the men and women and these flags, I see the eyes of deterrence. I see the eyes of American strength. I see the eyes that will deter the wars that we don't want to fight. Because we know we have a president committed, a commander-in-chief committed to peace. Peace through strength.
Peace through strength. No more wars.
We ever had. Which is one that you all know well. It's those who long for peace must prepare for war.
Hey, Victoria.
Every single day on behalf of our nation, and I cannot thank you enough, express our gratitude enough for what you do. So, in conclusion, I'm going to turn to page 27 and end with some well-written words deserved of a fantastic formation like this one. I'm grateful to be assembled here amongst America's Guard of Honor, the warriors of the 82nd Airborne Division, your families, and so many stout-hearted veterans. Like those who came before you, you keep showing the world the stuff you're made of, because we know you are ready for the important work that lies ahead. On behalf of the President of the United States, on behalf of the Office of the Secretary of Defense, on behalf of a grateful nation, Godspeed to all of you. God bless the United States of America. And airborne, all the way. Cool. Thank you.
And that was Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth at Fort Bragg, celebrating with troops and celebrating all of the successes of this great administration. Wonderful to hear from such an outstanding Pentagon chief who has been in the trenches himself, a Bronze Star winner, someone who is all about meritocracy and truly a soldier's soldier. Exciting to see all the reforms happening and the fighting readiness of the most lethal force in the world. It's the United States military.
Okay, so taking it down, really waiting for Caroline Levitt to come on. So, hello everybody. Welcome to today's Beach Report. I'm Kat, sitting at my sister's. I literally just got here, and I wanted to share the press briefing with you. But of course, it's not happening on time because it never does it? Oh well, whatever. Anyway, I've just driven 3 hours across the state of Florida. And I'll tell you what, The love bugs are back. Do you know what love bugs are? If you have ever been in Florida in the summertime, love bugs, oh boy, oh boy. So many love bugs. So we call them love bugs. I believe it's because they mate like right on your car. Wait, I gotta look this up and find out what exactly are these love bugs. Because they're so horrible. They're everywhere. They're all over my car. My windshield is like totally trashed. It is not cool. Love bugs. We'll find out a little bit more about them. So here's what they look like. Wait a minute. Yeah, they're mating. Also known as honeymoon flies or double-headed bugs, or small flies with red thoraxes and black bodies that are native to Central America and the southeastern United States. So, yay. They're known for their mating habits, which involve the male and female attaching end to end for several days. Love bugs are decomposers that feed on decaying vegetation and pollinate plants while eating nectar. So, love bugs are apparently important. They do not bite. They won't hurt you. They're just they're everywhere. They're gross. The species was first described in 1940 by D.E. Hardy, though it had been observed in Louisiana as early as 1911. At the time, Hardy reported the distribution of love bugs to be widespread, but more common in Texas and Louisiana and other Gulf states. You have them in Indiana too. Well, by the end of the 20th century, the species had spread to all areas bordering the Gulf of Mexico. The Gulf of America. Yeah. The entirety of Florida, and had spread as far as Georgia and South Carolina. The species is also present in other countries, including Australia. So do you get love bugs over there, Tracy from the future? In 1970, L.A. Hetrick wrote that the bug was also widespread in central and northern Florida and described its flights as reaching altitudes of 300 to 450 meters. That's up to like 1,500 feet and extending several kilometers over the Gulf. Wow. Their larvae feed on partially decayed vegetation in the landscape, and in this respect are beneficial to humans. Adults primarily, it's super hot in here, primarily feed on nectar from various plants, in particular sweet clover, goldenrod, and Brazilian pepper. The love bug is considered a nuisance by many motorists, like me, especially in the state of Florida, due to its swarming behavior during the species mating season. So, yes, I drove through several swarms today. There was a lot of them. I don't know. I think Caroline is going to be on soon, but before she gets on, I had some other news that I wanted to read to you. Let's see. Okay, so this is some weirdness that I came across. Nancy Mace parades her own naked photos in bizarre hearing. Now that's the headline from the Daily Beast, and they lie a lot, and they don't like conservatives. They're very left leaning. So take it with a grain of salt. But I'm going to read you this article from the Daily Beast. This just came out, I believe, yesterday. Congresswoman Nancy Mace displayed a poster she claimed was of her naked at a hearing on Capitol Hill on Tuesday, as she accused her ex-fiancé and others of taking video of women without permission. So this is apparently a thing that's been going on for a long time, and it's all coming out now. That's like, this is coming out at the same time as the Diddy hearing, but this is really kind of horrifying what happened to Nancy Mace and others. It was the latest in a series of explosive allegations Mace has publicly made against her ex. And this is heartbreaking because she thought she was going to marry this man. It's terrible. The silhouette image was one of several visuals the South Carolina Congresswoman used during a House Oversight Committee hearing on surveillance in private spaces. And you know what? Kudos to her for just getting it out there and not letting anybody intimidate her. Because you know what? She doesn't have anything the rest of us don't have. You know, I mean, you know what I mean? It's like so stupid to be intimidated by stuff like this. I mean, of course, nobody wants naked pictures of you out there. But at the same time, who really gives a, you know what? Mace drew attention ahead of the hearing when she posted on X, "I will show my naked body on one of the videos predator and rapist Patrick Bryant took of me and many other women." Yes, that's right. She used his name, Patrick Bryant. So if you meet a Patrick Bryant, ladies, go running. Oh, check he's not this guy. Their bodily fluids eat the paint finish on cars. Wait, oh my gosh, Kenneth, what did you just say? Why did you take that off? I've got to wash my car again. That part of the takedown bill evidence. Oh. She has accused Patrick Bryant and 3 other men of filming women without their knowledge and keeping the videos and images for years. That's right, for years. This has been going on for a long time. Her ex-fiance and others have denied the accusations. Okay, so does that mean she's lying? Why would she do this if she's lying? Yeah, you just, you said something. Your messages keep getting retracted. Are you doing that yourself, Kenneth? What's up with that? You're saying something important about love bugs eating the cars. Hi, Jeffrey. No, I don't do things for other people like that. Exhibit 1. Behind me is a screenshot from one of the videos I found of myself. The yellow circle, this naked silhouette, is my naked body. I didn't know I'd been filmed. I didn't give my consent, Mace said in the hearing. As she spoke, she referenced a black and white image blown up on a poster behind her. It showed a yellow circle around a blurred figure walking through the back of a scene taken from what appeared to be a kitchen looking into a living space. I was filmed in secret. The camera sat silent, yet it screamed my safety was negotiable and my dignity disposable. That's right. She also held up a picture of her ex-fiance with others, as well as one of the property where she claimed she found the camera and said many women were filmed. During her opening remarks, Mace also held up a series of other posters that she said were of other women who had been recorded without their consent. The posters had parts blurred out, I'm sure. Mace encouraged other potential victims to come forward and said she has their backs. The Congresswoman's opening statements came after she delivered an explosive speech on the House floor in February where she accused her ex-fiance and others of sexual misconduct. In it, she claimed she found a mountain of evidence, including videos of herself, after being given access to her ex's safe and phone. She described being horrified and humiliated after realizing the person in the video was her. At the time, she did not provide any of the corroborating evidence she had claimed to have obtained. Oh, Kenneth, I was trying to say there are bodily fluids eat the paint finish off your car, and yes, I've deleted my messages because spell check kept putting in words I didn't want. Okay, gotcha. In other words, I have to wash my car, like now, right? Is that what you're saying? Okay. One of the men she is accused sued the Congresswoman for defamation in March, as well as making allegations against her former partner. In February's speech, Mace also went after South Carolina's Attorney General Alan Wilson and accused him of turning a blind eye. Wilson's office called Mace's accusations against the Attorney General's office categorically false. In a statement in response to her floor speech, and claimed it had no knowledge of these allegations until her public statements, I was sure. In her remarks on secret recordings on Tuesday, Mace called South Carolina laws weak and a joke. She has introduced legislation on the issue. Today, I choose daylight. I invite every member of this House to step into this light with me, Mace declared. Just another very many situations where we learn the awful truth. Put a coat of wax on your car. Thank you, Marita. I will do that. Yes, immediately. Okay, that's great. So I gotta go run and wash my car. Ah, oh, I'll tell you, I'm like, oh, because yesterday I tried to wash my car at one of those automated car wash things, thinking it would be, I don't know, better, cheaper, something, I don't know. I don't know what I thought. Don't use those. Just go to the regular car wash. Because I ended up trying to go through the car wash. Like first it was I soaped up my car to get all the bugs and stuff off, and then I went through the automated car wash, not one of those big ones, like one of those little rinky-dink ones at the gas station, and it didn't work. So $8 later. Let's see what's happening over here. Hi Kathleen, blessings to you too. Doesn't matter, we'll eat through it. Oh, so the wax is not helpful. That's just great. Fantastic. I love you guys. Let's see what's going on. This is about President Trump. A minute.
That's President Trump meeting with the South African delegation.
That's
Hope to
nothing.
see change in that great nation. It's a beautiful place. But that's why we exist here on the right
We're
side
still
of
waiting to hear from our wonderful Caroline. Love it. I just love her, don't you? She's amazing. Anyway, yeah, so this whole Nancy Mace story is very disturbing, and I have to say I am super impressed with her for just being brave about it and just showing everybody the pictures that were taken of her and what happened to her and being really honest about it. I think it's great. And these men categorically denying it. Yeah, and they told us Biden was on the mark. He was on the ball. He was the sharpest tool in the shack. Yeah, right. If you go up to an auto store, you can get solutions that will take bug guts off your car before you go to the car wash. I want to do that, Kenneth. That is a very good idea. So thank you. Thank you for the reminder. Okay, I had some other news items I wanted to read to you, so this is a good time to do that. Here's an interesting story from Time. That's right, Time magazine, about our recently fake president. I mean, if you can't admit by now that that election was stolen, it's so clear. It's so clear, you know, if they'll lie to you about everything, they'll lie to you about everything. We can't trust these people, and we never could, and we never should. And they literally stole the 2020 election, which, you know, up until now, we haven't been allowed to talk about it because they get mad. They get super mad because they know it's true. And why this article isn't coming through, take it off the Wi-Fi. Okay, political leaders offer messages of support to former President Biden after cancer diagnosis. Okay, so this is from Time magazine. Listen to this. Political leaders from across parties in the United States extended their sympathies to Democratic former President Joe Biden, 82, after his office announced Sunday that he was diagnosed with an aggressive form of prostate cancer. Hi, Danny. Hello. Cheers. Biden, who served as vice president from 2009 to 2017 and fake president from 2021 to January, and his family are reviewing treatment options, according to the announcement. His administration had made addressing cancer a priority, launching the Cancer Moonshot Initiative to try to make it such that a diagnosis isn't a death sentence. Biden lost his son Beau in 2015 to brain cancer. Yeah, I remember him talking about that cancer moonshot stuff. Look how that worked out. Okay, so President Trump sent well wishes to Biden in a post on his social media platform, Truth Social. Melania and I are saddened to hear about Joe Biden's recent medical diagnosis, he said. We extend our warmest and best wishes to Jill and the family, and we wish Joe a fast and successful recovery. Okay, well, that was then. This is now. Hold on. President Trump made it very clear that Joe Biden is a victim of greedy, power-hungry people who lie as long as the day is, the day is long. Just never stopping with lies, just on and on. Okay, let's see what Kamala Harris and Doug Emhoff had to say about his diagnosis. Biden's vice president, Kamala Harris, who became the Democratic presidential nominee in the 2024 election after Biden pulled out of the race and concerns about his fitness, posted on X. Doug Emhoff and I are saddened to learn of President Biden's prostate cancer diagnosis. We are keeping him, Dr. Jill, and the entire family in our hearts and prayers during this time. Joe is a fighter, and I know he will face this challenge with the same strength, resilience, and optimism that has always defined his life and leadership. We are hopeful for a full and speedy recovery. How did you like my Kamala impression? They're talking about filing charges against Jill for elder abuse, and well, they should. Yeah, Jill and Ron Klain and maybe Barack Obama. Yeah, I don't know. That was my Kamala impression. Here, this is what Bill and the Hildebeest had to say about it. Former President Bill Clinton, who was diagnosed with skin cancer at the end of his presidency in 2001. Oh yeah, I remember that. Posted on X, my friend Joe Biden's always been a fighter. Hillary and I are rooting for him and are keeping him, Jill, and the entire family in our thoughts. Yeah, they're in our thoughts too. Like, we thought they did something bad, and now we know they did. Meanwhile, the former Secretary of State and 2016 Democratic presidential nominee, the Hildebeest, also posted a message for Biden and his family. I'm thinking of the Bidens as they take on cancer, a disease they've done so much to try to spare other families from, Clinton posted. Wishing you a speedy full recovery. Yeah, that's not going to happen. Don't get into that one, Walrus. I'm not here to be your girlfriend. So Marco Rubio, he issued a brief statement on X on behalf of himself and his wife. Jeanette and I are united in prayer for the Biden family during this difficult time. You know, they all say the same thing, right? Thoughts and prayers. But how about, we know what you did. We know what you did. I'm not looking for a boyfriend, Walrus, so don't worry about it. Let's find something that's a little more interesting than this news. Oh, did you hear the one big beautiful bill passed? So that is super exciting. And let's talk a little bit about that one big beautiful bill. It offers $1,000 for newborns, immigration, and tax cuts. I love that President Trump is actually investing in babies. I think that's so fantastic. It's in the Senate now. Oh, right, the finishing touches, that it's still gonna be good. You're gonna get kicked off this platform, Walrus, because I'm not putting up with that kind of stuff, okay? I'm not here to fulfill anybody's needs, okay? Aiming to reshape key areas of American policy, U.S. President Donald Trump's expansive One Big Beautiful Bill Act is a proposed legislative package in the House of Representatives. But it just passed the House, didn't it? Everybody united for it. Where's that Caroline? She's not coming on yet. Okay, here are some of the things that are in the Big Beautiful Bill. Whoops. That is not the right article. I'll find a better article. Yeah, no tax on overtime is pretty awesome. Danny's been a good friend. Okay. This is an ABC News article, and you know we can't trust them, but here's what they have to say. Republican-led House passes Trump agenda bill by a single vote. That it still passed. Cry harder. After weeks of internal GOP wrangling, the Republican-led House early Thursday, that would be this morning, passed the One Big Beautiful Bill Act, critical to advancing President Donald Trump's tax and immigration agenda. A smiling Speaker, Mike Johnson, announced the massive measure passed by a single vote, 215 to 214, and was greeted with applause. He had struggled to get it done, as he had promised, by Memorial Day, before lawmakers go on recess again. Yeah, you like CBS, Linda? I don't like any of them, because they all lied. They all lied to you, every single one of them. And every time I think about them saying that that was the most free and fair election in the history of all elections, just makes me want to puke. All of the mainstream news are dirty, lying liars. So that's it. Following debate that stretched Wednesday through the entire night and into early Thursday morning, the vote was a triumphant moment for Johnson, who conquered sharp divisions among his conference through a lot of prayer, amid a historically low 3-vote majority. The bill gets Americans back to winning again, and it's been a long time coming, Johnson proclaimed during his speech on the floor moments before the final vote. It literally is again morning in America, isn't it? All right. They're not going to touch Medicaid, Bomagator. They're just trying to scare you with that Medicaid BS. Yeah, they might touch Medicaid for the scammers. You know, that is one of the, I think, the biggest things that we need to work on. Well, one of the big things is all the scammers. There has to be something to stop them from scamming, especially elderly Americans. It has just gotten terrible. Well, it's been terrible. It's not gotten terrible. It's been a scourge for decades now. And it just gets worse and worse all the time, because they learn more and more tricks, more and more ways to trick us. I swear, my husband's phone, you know, he's passed away, but he's still getting billed for turnpike bills, right? Sure he is. And, you know, part of me wants to answer it and scream at them. He's been dead for 3 years. How can he have turnpike bills? But I know that if I even say one word or answer them, they're going to come at me even worse. So when Linda gets a scammer, she blots them again and again. What do you mean you blot them? all I do is just block and, you mean block them? Yeah, I know, I block them too. And that's all you should do, block and report, block and report. It's easy on your phone, but don't bother reporting them on Facebook because Facebook's not gonna do a damn thing about them. Facebook doesn't care. Facebook is a scammer too, so just saying. Trump wrote, "Great job by Speaker Mike Johnson and the House leadership, and thank you to every Republican who voted yes on this historic bill. Now it's time for our friends in the United States Senate to get to work and send this bill to my desk as soon as possible." And then, and then he said something about the Democrats. Wait, it said, Trump added before slamming Democrats. I don't know. During that final House vote, Republican lawmakers approached the speaker with congratulatory handshakes and backslaps. Someone also played, "We are the champions, my friends, and we'll keep on fighting till the end." Sing it with me. We are the champions. We are the champions. No time for losers, 'cause we are the champions of the world. You know what? It feels like we are the champions of the world, seeing how President Trump was welcomed by the Saudis. I think President Trump's champion of the world really feels like it. Walrus, just stop with that, okay? I want any part of it done, okay? Just stop with that. Go look for, go on OnlyFans. That's where those women are. So go find one there. Stop bothering me with the stuff. Oh, Nanette is driving 5 hours from, is that Los Angeles to Phoenix, or is it Louisiana to Phoenix? It's Los Angeles, right? That's a lot. Be safe. Oh, I know. My video on the beach yesterday was really good. And the day before was really good too. I've been really, really lucky. Walrus, you need to stop. I'm not your girl, okay? I'm not here for that. None of it. Don't want none of it. I'm an old lady and I'm not interested in anybody anymore, so that's just how it is. The successful vote with one GOP lawmaker voting present. And who was that, pray tell? They don't tell in this article. Who was that GOP lawmaker who voted present? Sends the reconciliation bill. Can somebody find that out? I would like to know. With one GOP lawmaker voting present, sends the reconciliation bill to the Senate, where the Republican majority is expected to revise the legislation over the next month or longer. Two House Republicans, Representatives Thomas Massey of Kentucky and Warren Davidson of Ohio, opposed the vote alongside the entire House Democratic caucus. Oh, okay, good to know. Massey and Davidson. Yeah, good to know. Rep. Andy Harris, the chairman of the House Freedom Caucus, was the one who voted present. Okay, so now we found out. I'm not for sale, Walrus. Johnson took a victory lap following the vote, holding a news but if you want to send a $20,000 super chat, please be my guest. I'm not saying you can't do that. Yeah, super chat's always welcome. Always welcome. I work hard. Good, 50K super chat. Pony it up, Walrus. I want to see that. So Johnson, we heard this. It's finally morning in America again. The media and the Democrats have consistently dismissed any possibility that House Republicans could get this stuff. They did not believe we could succeed in our mission to enact President Trump's America First agenda. But this is a big one. And once again, they have been proven wrong. Yeah, don't be a creep, Walrus. Come on, seriously. It's not cool. It's not funny. Although Barbara thinks it's funny. I've got like a thing in my throat right now. Anyway, somebody asked about Medicaid. The start date for new Medicaid work requirements will now kick in no later than December 31st, 2026. The original bill had the work requirements starting in 2029. This alteration is a win for hardliners who have for days been pushing for steeper spending cuts to be included in the package. Medicaid work requirements are expected to reduce spending in the bill. There is also a new incentive for states to not expand Medicaid. Medicaid expansion states are increasing state-directed payments up to 110% to maintain the structure. So, did you know that there's a MAGA savings account? Yeah, it's easy to type the letters or the number 50K. Super easy. But I don't see no super chat, so I'm guessing just to blow hard. The amendment changes the names of these MAGA savings accounts. Instead of MAGA accounts, they will now be called Trump accounts. The president's last name appears in the manager's amendment. I want to know, what is a Trump account? MAGA savings account. Have you guys heard anything about that? Well, we're gonna find out now. Oh, that's for the babies. Okay, so this is from CNBC. Tax bill includes a $1,000 baby bonus in Trump accounts. Here's who is eligible. President Trump's big, beautiful tax bill includes a new savings account for children that comes with a $1,000 deposit from the federal government. I think this is the greatest idea ever. Earnings in Trump accounts grow tax deferred, and qualified withdrawals are taxed at the long-term capital gains rate. A previous version of the bill called the benefits MAGA accounts. Here's how the measure stacks up against other tax advantage savings plans, according to CNBC. Yeah. Yes, walruses go in the Gulf of America. You're not wrong, Barbara. But it is kind of funny, so. He's not saying anything mean, at least. But he is being disrespectful, you know. It is disrespectful to come on my show and treat me like some kind of an object, because I don't appreciate that. And I'm not here looking for a boyfriend, ever. I was married to a wonderful man, and he passed away almost 3 years ago. And he is still my husband. And then I've got my other greatest love, which is the Lord. So I don't need a boyfriend or a man in my life. I'm quite happy, but I do have a lot of friends, so that's always good. So I'm always happy to have friends, but they're only friends. You don't even know me. I mean, really, it's silly, Walrus. Don't put yourself out like this on the show. People are just laughing at you, so you don't want to do that to yourself, right? Just be cool, fool. All right, let's see if there's any more news I can throw at you. Thank you, Barb. That I can throw at you since, see, I put these articles, I send them to myself all the time. Have you guys heard the latest interviews between that fake tapper and Megyn Kelly? And she dragged him through the mud. He still doesn't understand what he did. He still doesn't admit that he knew the truth and that he lied. He wants us to believe that he was tricked. He was tricked by the White House. Dude, really? You were tricked? I mean, the White House didn't trick me. You know, how did I know these things? And I've never been in a room with Joe Biden ever in my life. I have been in a room with President Trump. Not close enough to talk to him or anything, but I have been in the same room with him. Just saying. So, in Newsweek, Donald Trump Jr. Yeah, fake Tapper is trash. He's raised questions about a cover-up after former President Joe Biden was diagnosed with an aggressive form. They keep putting that in quotes as if it might not really be true. Because seriously, when somebody lies to you like over and over and over again, aren't you kind of stupid to keep believing anything that comes out of their mouth? I mean, really, like, come on. But I'll tell you what, I don't ever lie to you. I might get information wrong sometimes, and if that happens, I will fully admit that I got it wrong, but I don't normally get it wrong. I don't have an agenda, and I'm not paid off, not by anybody. I actually live quite freely, and I'm able to go where I want to go and do what I want to do because I've taken control of my life. And I think that sometimes people get caught up in doing things that they think they have to do and living ways that they think they have to live. But I kind of, when my husband passed away, I learned from him that you can live your life in such a way that you make yourself happy because you're helping other people. I think it's most important to kind of put yourself in a position of making the world a better place everywhere you go. And that's what I try to do. And when you live that way, you find a lot of doors open up for you, and you can do a lot of things, and people want you around. So I think just living and thinking, what can I do to make the world a better place? What can I do to make things better for my friends? Right now I'm babysitting my sister's cats. I'm always watching animals because since I lost my dog, I also have to think, what can I do to make the world a better place for animals in honor of my baby Muffin? So I feel like giving the pets in my friends and my sister's life loving care while they're not around. I know I would want that for my dog. So these are some of the things we do. I don't know where Caroline is, and it's kind of disturbing that she's not coming on. I also have a kind of a bad connection. Let's see. Maybe she's on and I don't even know it. Could well be. No, she's not. Oh well. So here's what President Trump's son, Don Jr., wrote on X. What I want to know is, how did Dr. Joe Biden miss stage 5 metastatic cancer? Or is this yet another cover-up? I'm sure it's a cover-up. I mean, everything that they do and say is a cover-up or a lie. So why would they be honest now, Yeah, she isn't usually this late, Victoria. Are you also concerned? I'm concerned. A professor of oncology told Newsweek that Joe Biden would have been tested for prostate cancer while in office, and it is likely his cancer developed rapidly. Really? That rapidly? To go full metastatic so quickly? I don't know. And for those of you who don't know, my husband died of prostate cancer. So this hits home for me. And I do know a thing or two about prostate cancer. Biden's age and health were dominant concerns among voters during his time as president. The 82-year-old dismissed concerns about his mental acuity, but ultimately dropped his bid for a second term following a disastrous debate performance in June last year. That's how they're spinning it. He was replaced as the Democratic nominee by then Vice President Kamala Harris, who lost to President Donald Trump. Oh, that's so sweet to read that. But here she is. Okay. Sorry, guys. Turn this up. Crikey.
In fact, we learned that Iran was planning to propose to Sarah next week in Jerusalem. Iran's father, Daniel, spoke about the young couple's devotion for one another this morning. He said, "They were in love, one for the other, The embassy told us they were like a star couple at the embassy. I never expected something like this. He had his whole life before him. These words, especially every parent knows, are heart-wrenching. The evil of anti-Semitism must be eradicated from our society. I spoke to the Attorney General this morning. The Department of Justice will be prosecuting the perpetrator responsible for this to the fullest extent of the law. Hatred has no place in the United States of America under President Donald Trump. Everyone here at the White House is praying for the victims' friends and families during this unimaginable time. Now for some scheduling announcements. On Saturday morning, President Trump will deliver the commencement address at the United States Military Academy at West Point. On Monday, to commemorate Memorial Day, the president will visit Arlington National Cemetery and participate in a wreath-laying ceremony. The president will further honor our military next month on June 14th when he hosts the 250th anniversary of the United States Army with a grand military parade celebration right here in our nation's capital. President Trump will be joined by veterans, active duty troops, wounded warriors, Gold Star families, and patriotic Americans from across the country to celebrate our heroes who have kept us safe. Tickets for the parade and the celebration are available through the America 250 Commission's event registration portal. It will be a truly historic and special day for our country. After the parade, President Trump will travel to the G7 Leaders Summit in Canada from June 15th through the 17th. We will be sending an additional logistics information out after the briefing. Last night, Republicans in the House passed the One Big Beautiful Bill Act, the most significant piece of legislation in years. There were a lot of good faith negotiations in the Republican conference leading up to the final passage, but as always, President Trump came in at the end to bring all sides together and get this deal done.
Yeah, go pass.
This One Big Beautiful Bill will implement President Trump's Make America Great Again agenda by delivering the largest tax cut in American history for middle-class families, the working class, and small businesses. The One Big Beautiful Bill fulfills President Trump's promises of no tax on tips, which was applauded today by the CEO of Uber, no tax on overtime, a Made in America auto tax break, Trump savings accounts for newborn babies, and substantial tax cuts for our amazing seniors' Social Security benefits. The One Big Beautiful Bill will permanently secure the border by delivering the largest border security investment in history, funding at least 1 million annual removals of illegal aliens to carry out the largest deportation campaign ever, finishing the Trump border wall, and giving pay raises and bonuses for our incredible ICE and Border Patrol agents. The One Big Beautiful Bill protects the Medicaid program and its benefits for the most vulnerable Americans that the program was designed for, by kicking off 1.4 million illegal aliens from receiving benefits and implementing common sense work requirements for able-bodied Americans. The One Big Beautiful Bill also helps get our fiscal house in order by carrying out the largest deficit reduction in nearly 30 years with $1.6 trillion in mandatory savings. Every single Democrat in the House of Representatives who voted against all of these common sense and massively popular policies, the Democrat Party has never been more radical and out of touch with the needs of the American people. The One Big Beautiful Bill is the final missing piece toward ushering the golden age of America. The Senate should pass this as quickly as possible and send it to President Trump's desk for a final signature. After today's briefing, President Trump will hold a Make America Healthy Again event alongside Secretary Kennedy and several other cabinet secretaries to unveil the Maha Commission report. President Trump wants every child in America to grow up and to live a long and healthy life. That's why he's working alongside Secretary Kennedy to end the chronic disease epidemic to keep our children healthy, safe, and disease-free. The Maha Commission report is a historic assessment, the first of its kind by any presidential administration, of current evidence and research about the health crisis affecting America's children. This report is a review of pre-existing research to comprehensively assess what we understand about our health problems and what we don't understand, and how we can find those answers. All of the findings will be based on the gold standard of science. And I think I speak for all Maha moms across the country when I say we look forward to the president's event and remarks later this afternoon. And as we head into the Memorial Day weekend, a quick update on gas prices. According to the fuel savings platform Gas Buddy, the national average price of gasoline is expected to be $3.08 on Memorial Day. We expect that to continue to decline because of the president's energy policies. But this is down from Memorial Day last year. And adjusted for inflation, it's the second cheapest price for a gallon of gas on Memorial Day since 2003, thanks to President Trump. And finally, in other news, the Department of Homeland Security conducted a deportation flight from Texas to remove vicious illegal criminals in the United States. All of these individuals were sent or are trying to be sent to a third country. And President Trump promised to get vicious illegal alien murderers, rapists, and pedophiles like these out of our country, and he is trying to deliver on this promise. But no matter how upset this makes Democrats, we will continue to deport these monsters to keep Americans safe. And here are the heinous individuals who were on that flight. A Cuban national convicted of homicide, armed robbery, false impersonation of an official, kidnapping, and robbery strong arm. A Cuban national convicted of attempted first-degree murder with a weapon. A citizen of Laos convicted of first-degree murder and robbery. A Mexican national convicted of second-degree murder. A citizen of South Sudan convicted of robbery and the possession of a firearm. A citizen of Burma convicted of lascivious acts with a child less than 12 years old.
Ew.
A citizen of Burma convicted of first-degree sexual assault involving a victim mentally and physically incapable of resisting. It's disgusting. And a Vietnamese national convicted of first-degree murder. Now, a liberal activist district court judge in the city of Boston, Massachusetts, is trying to force the President of the United States to bring these monsters back to our country. Judge Brian Murphy is ordering the Department of Homeland Security to give these illegal criminals 15 days to reopen their immigration cases with access to phones and attorneys.
Why would they do
Every
that?
single one of these individuals, I will add, had final orders of removal from our country. And now Judge Murphy is forcing federal officials to remain in Djibouti for over 2 weeks, threatening our U.S. diplomatic relationships with countries around the world, and putting these agents' lives in danger by having to be with these illegal murderers, criminals, and rapists. This is completely absurd. Judge Brian Murphy is not the Secretary of State. He is not the Secretary of Defense or the Commander-in-Chief. He is a district court judge in Massachusetts. He cannot control the foreign policy or the national security of the United States of America, and to suggest otherwise is being completely absurd. According to new reporting about this judge, he's a registered Democrat in Massachusetts who during his Senate confirmation hearings failed to disclose his ties to a radical left-wing organization that claimed the word illegal to describe illegal aliens was inherently prejudicial. This massive judicial overreach by Judge Murphy is part of the same opposition our administration has faced since day one. Radical left-wing judges are egregiously trying to stop President Trump from using his core constitutional powers as head of the executive branch and commander-in-chief. These judicial activists want to unilaterally stop President Trump from deporting foreign terrorists and keeping the American people safe. Nearly 80 million Americans re-elected this president to deport illegal criminals from our homeland.
I'm one of them.
And polling consistently shows that 90% of Americans want illegal alien criminals, especially those with final orders of removal from our country, who have chosen to continue to stay here illegally. Americans want these people sent home. We hope the Supreme Court will continue to rein this in as soon as possible to restore proper constitutional order in our country. Take some questions. And here in our new media seat today, we have Jillian Michaels. She's a renowned personal health expert. I know all of you know her. I certainly
Jillian
do,
Michaels.
watching fitness videos
Awesome.
growing up. And a media powerhouse who continues to expand her reach with her podcast, Keeping It Real. Jillian,
She's
I know
been
you're
doing
here today for the
great.
Make America Healthy Again event. We're proud to welcome you to the White House. Thanks for being in the briefing. Why don't you go ahead?
Thank you for having me. As a Maha mom yourself, how do you interpret the significance of this report in terms of delivering measurable health improvements for Americans and their kids, and what specific actions does the administration plan to take in response to it?
Sure. Well, thank you for the question. And again, thank you very much for being here. I would like to emphasize, we held a call earlier today with Secretary Kennedy, Secretary Rollins, Administrator Zeldin, and other
Nice to watch your
officials at
show.
Health and Human Services to talk about the gravity of this report. When the president took office, he promised to make this country healthy again. And the president signed an executive order directing this commission. And now, less than 100 days later, the commission is delivering this report. It's another promise made and another promise kept. And the report identifies 4 major factors that are contributing to the rise in childhood chronic disease. Again, this is the first time the federal government has really recognized in a single report that we have a problem in our country. Our children are getting sicker, not healthier. This is not just a crisis, a health crisis, but it poses national security implications as well. And this administration is focused on ensuring we understand why. The 4 factors contributing to the report, as you will all hear from the president later, are number 1, poor diet, a robust discussion about ultra-processed food that are dominating our children's diets, environmental chemical exposure, plastics and other chemicals that are unfortunately a part of our daily American life. It talks about the lack of physical activity and chronic stress, and how technology-driven lifestyles are contributing to the decline of our children's physical and mental health. And then lastly, the report touches on the over-medicalization that's taking place in our American society, nowhere else in the world, but just right here in the United States of America. And the report directs the entire administration to understand why these issues are happening and what public policy can the administration implement to ensure that we are fostering a more healthy country for our children. So
Get the
I'll leave it at
fluoride
that
out of
and
the
let
water.
the president and his team speak more about this historic report later. But this should be good news for everyone. I don't care what your politics are. We should all agree that we want our children to be healthy and safe, and we want our food supply to be healthy and safe. We have the best farmers and ranchers in the world right here in the United States of America, and we have the best workers in the world. We have the best people in the world, but unfortunately we have a health crisis that's been plaguing us for too long, and this report speaks to the heart of it. You're welcome. Thanks for being here. Garrett, go ahead.
Caroline, you guys are very proud of your record on transparency. I have 2 transparency-related questions for you.
Sure.
On the president's dinner tonight, will the White House commit to making a list of the attendees public so people can see who's paying for that kind of access to the president?
Well, as you know, Garrett, this question has been raised with the president. I have also addressed the dinner tonight. The president is attending it in his personal time. It is not a White House dinner. It's not taking place here at the White House. But certainly I can raise that question and try to get you an answer for it.
Okay, and on the Qatari aircraft, the Air Force has said they're going to classify all the information about the work that has to get done to bring it up to snuff to be Air Force One. Previous Air Force One contracts, including the one that the president entered into in 2018, are public. That's available knowledge. Will the White House commit to releasing who's doing that work and the cost of that work? I understand that some elements might be classified about specific systems, but will you commit to releasing that basic information so people can see ultimately what this costs?
Well, Garrett, as you know, that's a question for the Department of Defense and the United States Air Force, who is accepting this jet as part of their fleet.
Declassify anything he
So,
wants.
well, you'll have to ask the Department of Defense and the United States Air Force, who is accepting this jet as part of its fleet. Peter.
The president can declassify anything that he wants. Has he looked to see if there are any records here that would contradict what we've been told about Joe Biden's decline?
He has not directed anyone, to my knowledge, to look into that, but surely I can ask him if he intends to. I think the president has spoken on this pretty extensively, and I have spoken about it extensively from this podium as well, how it was truly one of the worst political scandals this country has ever seen, that the previous administration covered up the decline in the former president's mental and physical ability. And it's now all coming out, but the American people knew the truth, and that's one of the many reasons why President Trump won the election on November 5th.
And President
That's
Trump
right.
says that he basically thinks unelected Biden staffers concealed his decline so that they could use the levers of power for their own personal
That's
gain.
right.
Well, look, that's not just the president thinking that, Peter. There's a new book out. I don't know if any of you have heard about it. Again, a little bit too late, because the American people knew the truth on this from the very beginning. And there were reporters in this room, including some from your network, Peter, I'll give you a little bit of credit here, who have said that clearly Joe Biden's staffers were engaging in this cover-up. So this is common sense. This isn't the president making it up. These are facts that are now finally being revealed.
Right, and I'm not saying the president's making it up, but he specifically talks about the auto pen. He thinks that staffers were using this auto pen.
Mm-hmm.
Is there some kind of like a badge that you have to swipe to use an auto pen? Is there a record of that?
I can
It's a
tell
good
you
question.
here at this White House, the president signs any document that has legal implications. The president signs every executive order. He signs every proclamation. He signs pretty much every document that is needed for the president's signature, with the exception of maybe some letters to children. From what we have heard and seen, that was not the case in the previous administration, and the president is raising good questions that are worth looking into. And as for Maha, I'm going to take a sip of water, if that's okay with you guys. Go ahead.
Thanks, Caroline. Back to the presidential gala tonight. Did anyone in the White House or in the White House counsel's office advise the president against holding this sweepstakes, whereby people who spent the most money on his Trump coin would then have access to the president at this dinner?
Again, the president has been asked about this. He has addressed this. I have also stated previously from this podium that the president is abiding by all conflict of interest laws that are applicable to the president. And I think everybody, the American public, believe it's absurd for anyone to insinuate that this president is profiting off of the presidency. This president was incredibly successful before giving it all up to serve our country publicly. And not only has he lost wealth, but he also almost lost his life.
That's
He
right.
has sacrificed a lot to be here.
Sure
and to
has.
suggest otherwise is frankly completely absurd.
Yes, it
White House
is.
have
Libby, go
any
ahead.
concerns?
Yeah, with your face. She told you.
What is the president anticipating ahead of that, and if a deal doesn't come from that meeting, is he going to walk away?
Well, I'm glad you brought up Iran because I do have an update. The president spoke to Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu today. They had a productive discussion. They discussed many things, including, of course, the tragic shooting that took place here in Washington, D.C. last night. But they also did talk about a potential deal with Iran, which the president believes is moving along in the right direction. And as the president told me, and he's told all of you, this deal with Iran could end in two ways. It could end in a very positive diplomatic solution, or it could end in a very negative situation for Iran. So that's why these talks are taking place later this week. Yamish, good to see you.
Hi, good. Thanks for taking the question.
Sure.
The president showed a video that he said showed more than 1,000 burial sites of white South Africans that he said were murdered. We know that that was not true and that the video wasn't
Yes,
true.
it
And that's- I
was.
wonder, why did the president choose
What's
to show
not
that?
true, Yamish?
It's not true. The video was showing a burial site.
Yes, it was.
Is substantiated that that's the case.
No, it is true that that video showed the crosses that represent.
What the president claimed.
The video showed images of crosses in South Africa about white farmers who have been killed and politically persecuted because of the color of their skin.
The president
And those
claimed
crosses
that
are
it was showing
representing
a
their
burial.
lives. Those crosses are representing their lives in the fact that they are now dead and their government did nothing about it. Are you disputing that there's no...
The fact that the video showed what the president claimed it showed, because it did not show that. But even more, what I'm asking you is who at the
No, it
White
did
House
show that. It
It
showed
did
white
show
crosses
that.
representing people who have perished because of racial persecution.
verifies the video
Stop
that the
with your
president
lying.
shows, and what protocols are in place when there's unsubstantiated information being put out for the
Wow.
world and world leaders to
Yamish,
show.
what's unsubstantiated about the video? The video shows crosses that represent the dead bodies of people who were racially persecuted by their government. In fact, the Associated Press, of all places, has a picture of that very monument, and the caption from the Associated Press is, "Each cross marks a white farmer who has been killed in a farm murder."
Bingo.
So it is
Burial
substantiated,
site, but it's
not
not.
just by that video and the physical evidence that everybody saw on display in the Oval Office, but also by another outlet in this room, the Associated Press. So you should take it up with them if you believe the claim is unsubstantiated. and
That's
that's a
right. Move
ridiculous
on.
line
Tell
of
her to
questioning.
shut up.
John, go ahead. Go ahead,
Thank
John.
you, Carolyn. The
Woo!
big, beautiful bill now goes to the Senate.
Does, yes.
A lot of the Republican senators have promised amendments that will water this thing down dramatically. What is the president's level of tolerance for their amendments to water it down? And what will be the action taken for some of the amendments that
Spirit.
the president does not want?
Sure. Well, the One Big Beautiful Bill is named the One Big Beautiful Bill for a reason, because it is a one big beautiful bill that encompasses just about everything this president could want for the American public. It delivers on so many of his core campaign promises. So surely we want to see those campaign promises signed into law. And as the president put in his Truth Social post this morning, and as he said to me, we can celebrate this past the House for a couple of hours, but now it's time for the Senate to get to work. The president has a great relationship with Senate Majority Leader Thune, and of course so many friends on the Senate side of the Hill, and he's expecting them to get busy on this bill and send it to his desk as soon as possible. Phil.
Thank you. Given that the president said the other day the SALT cap, we don't want to benefit Democratic governors. If the Senate was to reduce that SALT cap or make any type of changes, would he support that, or is this a situation where done is beautiful and he just wants to pass it?
Well, look, it's a hypothetical question, obviously. Negotiations. Well, correct. The bill passed, didn't it? So now it's off to the Senate where additional negotiations will take place, and we'll see how it goes. Michael.
Caroline, two questions on the beautiful bill. One of the campaign promises from President Trump was no tax on Social Security. Now, due to congressional rules, that wasn't able to be included in this bill. How does the president plan to follow through on that campaign promise?
Well, this bill did address taxes for our seniors. It actually allows them to take off significant money from their Social Security payments, get more money back, I should say, put more money in their pockets for various reasons. So this bill delivers on that promise. That's the view of the White House.
Secondly, you had two Republicans last night that voted against this bill, Congressman Massey and Davidson. Does the president think that they should be primaried?
I believe he does, and I don't think he likes to see grandstanders in Congress. What's the alternative? I would ask those members of Congress. Did they want to see a tax hike? Did they want to see our country go bankrupt?
Caroline
That's
telling the liars to shut up.
trying to vote no. And the president believes the Republican Party needs to be unified, and the vast majority of Republicans clearly are, and are listening to the president. They are trusting in President Trump, as they should, because there's a reason he's sitting in this Oval Office. It's because he's the unequivocal leader of the Republican Party, not just a president for Republicans, but all Americans. The president's approval rating is at an all-time high right now. And it's because he knows how to deliver, and Republicans like Thomas Massey and others should take note. Stephen.
Building on the question about Social Security, the bill includes the president's promises to address taxes on tips and overtime. Could you say his feelings about the income cap? Is he satisfied where that landed? And also on a different matter, can you comment
on their
the
list, Kenneth. Don't
investigation
worry.
that the Justice Department has into Andrew Cuomo?
As for the first question, the president is clearly satisfied where the bill landed because it passed. Again, now it has to go to the Senate, so changes could certainly be made. As for your second question, I would defer you to the Department of Justice. Christian.
Yeah, thanks, Caroline. Can you explain the decision to totally shake up FEMA leadership just a week before hurricane season?
You'd have to ask the Department of Homeland Security in terms of leadership, but certainly the administration, and I know the National Security Council here at the White House is monitoring storms and natural disasters that are happening across the country at all times. We're briefed on those. The administration is briefed on those, and Secretary Noem is leading that effort for sure.
Switching gears, Carol.
Just following up on Warren Davidson, I wanted to read you his quote that he posted online. While I love many things in the bill, promising someone else will cut spending in the future does not cut spending. Deficits do matter, and this bill grows them. Why should that get a Republican primary?
This bill saves $1.6 trillion for the American taxpayer. It saves more than any bill that has ever passed Capitol Hill has. In fact, by double. The next bill saved $800 billion. This bill saves $1.6 trillion. So this is a very good bill for the American people, the American taxpayer. And I believe, as an outlet put it with a headline this morning, it might have been Politico actually, they wrote that the American people are going to be flush with cash when this thing is signed into law. And that's a good thing for American taxpayers. Sure, go ahead.
Caroline, what is the president doing to win Senate passage by July 4th? And does that include work to eliminate carried interest and make business tax cuts permanent? Where is he on those issues?
Well, look, this bill literally just passed the House of Representatives. So now our team is suiting up for discussions with the Senate side of Capitol Hill. The president again said this morning he hopes to see this bill at his desk as soon as possible, and he'll be engaged in the process to get it through the Senate, just like he was to get it through the House of Representatives.
What kind of assurances did he give the Freedom Caucus members to kind of ensure that this would get through last night? Was changes to Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac part of that equation? Changes administratively to Medicaid as well?
Well, I was in that meeting yesterday with the president and House Freedom Caucus, and he told them how he wants to be a cheerleader for them, a cheerleader for the Republican Party and for the country. And Republicans faced a pivotal moment yesterday. They could have voted to bankrupt the country and increase taxes by $4 trillion, or they could vote for this one big, beautiful bill which cuts taxes and saves American taxpayers money. And he put that proposition before them, and clearly they heeded the call because the bill passed last night. Sure.
Caroline, so on the
Or this morning, rather. Every day is going into the next. Go ahead.
The Netanyahu call. Just curious, did the president raise the flow of aid into Gaza? Is he happy with where that situation is right now?
Not to my knowledge, but I can certainly go back and check.
And did you have any reaction to the Supreme Court's ruling about the religious charter school today, as well as Justice Tony Barrett's decision to recluse herself?
We'll get you an answer on that case specifically. Sure.
You mentioned the president has a good relationship with Leader Thune. Has he talked to him specifically about the plan to get this through the Senate? Does he plan, or is he going to reach out to Republicans who have voiced concerns?
Not to my knowledge has he spoken to Leader Thune this morning. He very well could have. I just wasn't briefed on that call. We can go back and check for you. The president did speak to Prime Minister Netanyahu this morning. He also had a call with President Sheinbaum this morning. He was receiving his intelligence briefing. He's been very busy all morning. But again, he certainly intends to remain active and engaged in these negotiations with the United States Senate to get this bill done.
And just following up on the dinner tonight, you mentioned this is not a White House dinner, but the president is always the president, and the Trump family is making money off of this. So can you just explain, how is this not the president using the office to enrich himself?
All of the president's assets are in a blind trust, which is managed by his children. And I would argue one of the many reasons that the American people reelected this president back to this office is because he was a very successful businessman before giving it up to publicly serve our country. Reagan.
Thanks, Caroline. Last week, the president told Brett Baer that he trusts his people, but thinks that the official narrative on his assassination attempts are, quote, a little bit odd. FBI Deputy Director Dan Bongino said days later that there's no conspiracy to find, and as he put it, quote, the there that you're looking for is not there. My question is the president personally satisfied with the investigations into the attempts on his life?
Good
and does he
question.
agree with Deputy FBI Director, or does he think there's more to it?
Well, in the lead up to your question, you answered your own question with the president's own words, and I'll leave it at that. Sure, go ahead, Haley.
Thanks, Caroline.
Haley, go ahead.
Oh, thanks. I wanted to follow up on his call with Prime Minister Netanyahu and his effort to reach a deal with Iran. Does he feel like he has the Prime Minister's support in this effort at this point, or did the Prime Minister raise concerns to him in this conversation?
I won't get further into the private discussion between the president and the prime minister, but surely they have a good relationship, one that's built on transparency and trust. And the president has made it very clear to not just Prime Minister Netanyahu, but also the world, that he wants to see a deal with Iran struck, if one can be struck. He does not want to have to take the latter option, the more severe and negative option. He wants to see a deal. The president is a deal maker, and he believes strongly in diplomacy, and he's made that clear to the prime minister, but also to all of you and, frankly, the rest of the world. Mary.
Thank you, Caroline. Two questions, one on the terror attack last night and then another on the big, beautiful bill. Do you or President Trump have a message to politicians like Ilhan Omar, who only this morning explicitly avoided condemning this act of terror?
It's despicable. And frankly, we have seen a rise in anti-Semitic protests, of pro-Hamas protests, of terrorist sympathizers. We saw them on our college campuses, and we've seen the Democrat Party turn a blind eye and in some cases actually embrace such anti-Semitic illegal behavior. And that's why this administration has done more than any administration in history to crack down on anti-Semitism. As you know, in January, when the president took office, he signed a new executive order to combat anti-Semitism. He created a commission focused on doing just that. The Justice Department announced their task force as well. The Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, has revoked thousands of student visas from campuses where these pro-Hamas terrorist campus agitators and violent protests took place. And we've also withheld funding from those very campuses as well in an effort to combat anti-Semitism. So the president's made it very clear that such hatred will have no place in our country.
Thank you. And then on the big, beautiful bill, I know there's a provision that the House included that defunds Planned Parenthood, not only because of the fact that it's the nation's largest abortion provider, but also because it's, I think, the biggest distributor of transgender hormones right now, even to minors, according to Live Action.
I didn't know that.
Is the president committed to making sure that provision stays in the Senate?
The president has maintained a very clear commitment to ensuring that this administration and the American people's tax dollars are not funding any institution. That includes hospital systems that are funding the chemical castration and mutilation of children.
That's right.
We're not going to tolerate taxpayer dollars going to such efforts. Sure. Thanks, Caroline. You mentioned at the top of the briefing that the migrants were to be sent to a third country. I was just wondering, could you share any more on, which countries the administration has struck these agreements with, and
who
what
cares?
that agreement with South Sudan specifically looks like? Well, first of all, I won't litigate foreign policy from the podium, but what I will reiterate is the absurdity of this ruling from a district court judge in Boston who is just creating new immigration laws out of thin air. This administration, let me be very clear, because there have been a lot of fake headlines about this deportation flight over the last 2 days. This administration has complied with all court orders. And the individuals whose names I just revealed and whose criminal histories I just spoke of that are on this flight, every single one of them had a final order of removal from our country. In fact, one of these violent illegal criminals had a final order of removal given to him in 1999. It's 2 years after I was born. This individual, this criminal, has been living in our country for an entire generation. And now we have a district court judge who is trying to tell the president and the Secretary of State and the Secretary of Homeland Security that an illegal criminal murderer who's been hiding in the shadows in our country for nearly 30 years cannot be deported from United States soil. That not only is undermining our entire immigration system, but it is also undermining our diplomatic negotiations with countries around the world. How are countries on this earth supposed to trust the United States government and these good faith diplomatic negotiations when these countries accept these repatriation flights? How are they supposed to trust us if we have radical district court judges who are going to say, no, you can't do that? And now these illegal criminal murderers and rapists have to sit in Djibouti with our ICE agents who now have to sit there for more than 2 weeks without the proper resources. This judge is not only undermining our immigration system, undermining our foreign policy and our national security, but this judge is undermining the safety of the ICE agents who are putting their lives on the line to remove this list of illegal criminal terrorists. It's truly despicable what's happening in our court system, and the president and this administration hope that the Supreme Court will do what it needs to do to rein in these liberal activist judges. And the Supreme Court has already said it is well within the president's purview to dictate foreign policy, and a radical district court judge should not be getting in the way of that. We'll see you all later at the Maha event. Thank you.
Thanks, Caroline.
Wow. All right, so that was amazing. Caroline certainly brought receipts and shut them up. I know. I need a drink too, Danny. That was a lot. I feel like super overloaded with information. I agree, Kenneth. You got to give it to Caroline for putting up with those moronic so-called reporters that have absolutely no relevance to what's really going on. Facts. It's bad. It's bad. I consider the people asking the stupid questions to be enemies of America. And thank God we have super smart people now taking care of us and able to answer questions and shut people down when they need to be shut down. And the fact that President Trump, he showed those videos, and then I read all of those articles that came out in the mainstream news, all of them said that it wasn't true, that those crosses were not really part of a genocide. It's disgusting. And same people who claim that we need MS-13 gang members in our country, give them due process. I don't think so. All right, anyway, I'm exhausted, and like Danny, I need a drink. Anyway, yeah, it's been a long day, and I did just drive 3 hours. So, and then if you're still watching, good luck on your long drive. My little sister is on a long drive right now, so I know a lot of people are positioning themselves for the Memorial Day holiday. Super exciting. This year is going to be fun. It's just so nice to have President Trump back in office, and it just makes every occasion so much better. All right, you guys. Well, I'm going to say ciao for now. Bye, bis morgen, Danny. Love you guys. Have a wonderful rest of your day. If anything exciting happens, I'll be back on the beach report. But right now, man, I gotta take a nap. Ciao for now.